Hello and welcome to a new episode of our podcast. This time we'll be talking about MOC in layman terms. Hi, my name is Mireaux and I'm with Mireaux Management Solutions. So today we're going to talk about the concept management of change, or MOC, and what it really means in plain layman terms so that you can understand what is it and why is it so important for the ISO and API standards. So to do this, I want to bring it down to the level of personal, your home. What happens if one day you come to your house and your furniture has all been rearranged? I mean, you know where things go. You know where your furniture is placed because it looks nice. And because of that, you know when you want to go watch TV, what couch you want to sit in because it's perfectly set up in front of your TV. And maybe you know where you want to sit when you have a guest and you just want to talk. So if you were to come home and things are rearranged in a way you don't even know, and maybe it doesn't work for your line of view of watching TV, maybe the light hits it and you cannot even see well, with the line from outdoors, would you like that? What about your clothes? Like, how you put your clothes in your closet. Maybe you go by colors. Maybe you go by whether it is for work and whether it is for home or whether it is for outdoors or parties, or maybe even by season. You know how you arrange your clothes. And what if somebody came and moved it all up for you without you even knowing? It will take you a long time to maybe put your outfit together because you have to figure it out. Where is my sweater, or where is my white shirt, or where is my work pants, if everything was mixed up? Aside from you not liking that, you could be wasting a lot of time, right? What about if you subscribe to Netflix and you love watching series or movies there, and you actually are in the middle of watching a series, and then one day you come home, you sit, you turn the TV on, and there's no more Netflix. Somebody changed your subscription to Apple TV. And you're like, where is my show? I like my show. I enjoy it. And, whether it was just for fun or maybe you were learning something from the show, whatever it might be, you'll be like, why you move it? Or maybe your wife or your partner or your roommate changed it, and you'll be like, why you did that? You didn't even ask me. I was in the middle of a series and I still had 3 more shows to watch. So you wouldn't like that for sure. Or even you might have, for example, your car insurance, and you pay for it, you set it up, you have the collision or the whole works that you are going to be covered in case of an accident that you caused or that somebody else caused. But then when you actually have an accident, you realize you're not covered. What happened? Somebody changed your insurance. You'll be like, why did you change my coverage, right? Whether it's your agent, your spouse, your friend, your parents, you'll be like, why did you change without letting me know? I had it all set up. Whatever it might be the circumstance, you wouldn't like that change, right? And that's where the concept of management of change comes in. So the lesson here is, even on small changes like what happens at home, you want to be in control. You want to be notified before any changes like that happen, especially if you are an adult person who already have your own thoughts and nobody really controls you. Now, let's put this into a perspective of a college student. Let's say you're in college and you have a roommate, but you have your little space in your dorm where you set your clothes and you set your toiletries in the bathroom and you know where things are. What if one day your roommate just decides to move your clothes around and take your toiletries and put them somewhere else? I mean, you'll be looking everywhere for it, and then you'll be like, why you change this, man? You'll be wondering what happened. And not only that, you might even get late to class one day because you didn't know the change happened, and now you are trying to find out where your toothbrush is to brush your teeth, right? So that's a change you wouldn't want. Or let's say your roommate decide to change the Wi-Fi password. So you get to your dorm and you need to connect to the internet because maybe you're taking a class online or really just to do homework, because right now at school everything is done online. And now you don't know what the password is, and so you're having trouble really getting your computer hooked up to where your classes are. And so this could be a detriment for you and completing your homework. So again, another example where you'll be like, why you change this? And you didn't even tell me the new password, or why the change to begin with, right? Nobody even told you, or they didn't even think of the implications. And maybe now you gotta reconnect your phone and your iPad and your laptop, and that's a big waste of time. So the lesson here is, again, these minimal changes could cause some havoc in your college life. So now let's bring this to an example, a parallel to what happens at work. Let's say you have an estimating process and you already know how it works. You know who your suppliers are that you can count and depend on, and based on their prices, for example, you put together quotes for your customers. Now, you know what the materials they give you, you know what they can provide, and the delivery times and the cost, and that's the basis for your entire estimating and proposal process. But then somebody changes and either decides this supplier is gone, or maybe the supplier themselves go out of business, and now you're putting together proposals and estimates that are really not going to be sustainable in real life because that supplier that you based it on is gone, right? You wouldn't want that. You want to be notified, hey, this supplier, we can no longer do business with them because, or that supplier notifying you, they can no longer support you because, and that way you can prepare, you can adapt your processes, you can change your processes so that you don't see a disruption in your estimating process. Do you see that? Right? By being notified, by having enough time to adapt and absorb this change, then you can adapt your process that depends on this supplier. Now, let me give you another example. Your manufacturing floor. It is already arranged a certain way. You have your equipment, your tools. People know what their cells are, the ones that they worked in. They know how the material flows all the way from the beginning to the end of the line where they ship the material or the product, the finished product. So it's like a beautiful dance. You have it all nicely arranged. And then all of a sudden, maintenance just decide to move equipment around. And when you come the next day, people don't even know where to go, where they don't know where their machine that they handle are. Maybe they have a work order and now everything has been shifted. You see how that could be disrupting? You wouldn't want that because it's not only going to cause delays, not only going to cause confusion on your people, but it's really going to cause delays because now you're going to have to maybe restructure the work order. You're going to maybe have to reassign people to different machines or let them know where their machine went that they are used to working with. And so now you have a whole new process that you have to adapt. And so definitely that's may translate into having your delivery a little bit late. So do you see how that process could be disrupted if there is a change that people don't know about or that is not even thought well? Maybe it's not just about delays and confusion. Maybe now the product comes out and it's bad because the machine maybe worked well on this area. And when I'm talking about machine or equipment, it could just be a certain piece of equipment that maybe was working well when it was in an area with air conditioning, and now that it is in an area without air conditioning, maybe that machine works at a subpar level. And so that could really be disruptive to the process and the outcome of your product. Now, let me give you another example. You're used to getting good people that have certain level of competency And so when you get them, you're able to assign them to whatever area they were hired for. But let's say somebody changed the hiring practices, and now you're getting people that are not even competent and that you have to train a lot more in order for them to do their jobs or the job that they are intended for. That will set you back because now you're expecting them to be at a certain level, but then now you realize, hey, instead of having a couple of days of training in our processes, now I gotta have them a couple of weeks of training before I can send them to their department, or I can put them in the production line or whatever it might be. So that will be a change that could really be detrimental to your process and the outcome of your product or service. Do you see how important management of change is? It's about making sure that if there is going to be a change, somebody notifies you ahead, that you have the chance to look at the change and make a decision on whether this change is good, this change is going to add value to your process, and making the proper arrangements so that we don't have confused people or processes that are more inefficient than before, or that we have people looking around and wasting time, money, resources because things were moved. And that's why ISO, or the API Management System standard, place management of change very high because we don't want to disrupt our management system. We have it all running well, or at least we try, and we have a baseline and we want to improve. We don't want to get worse. And in order for us to improve, we're going to do it by thinking thoroughly or thinking well before we make a change. Whether it's through corrective action process or a proper management of change process, we want to be meticulous when it comes to making a change. Is this going to help us? What are the risks if this is not done correctly? What will happen if we change this machine? What will happen if we change the process of hiring? What will happen if this supplier goes away? What will happen if any of these changes are put in place? You want to first think about what will happen before you put the change, and then go through the scenarios of what could go wrong, and then you decide what actions you will take to mitigate those things that could go wrong and make the change happen. But maybe you realize, you know what, this is not worth it. It's not worth it moving this machine because it's going to cause more havoc than not. And so you don't. And that's what management of change is making sure that you take the proper precautions before making the change. Just like if you were at home, if your wife or your partner or your roommate wants to rearrange the furniture, change from Netflix to Apple TV, or change the closet arrangement. You want them to ask you first, and you want to decide, that is not worth it because I like it this way, or maybe you haven't seen the reason, or you don't know the reason why my clothes are arranged that way. I arrange it by season and I don't arrange it by color or whatever it might be. So you want to know, you want to be notified, and then you want to think about, is this change worth it? Is it going to help me? Is it going to help us? Is it going to make our process better? And if so, go ahead and do it, but in a controlled manner. Put actions in place, tell people what their actions are so that everything is done in a controlled manner, and so your management system remains pristine. Well, hope that helps you understand what MOC, or management of change, is. If you need help with management of change or any other area of the ISO or API standards, let us know. We're here to help. Until our next video, stay awesome, stay compliant.